Reports this morning that major infrastructure projects, including the national broadband network, face increasing wage pressures as the shortage of skilled workers continues to grow. Now, according to the September quarter Clarius Skills Index, there is an overall shortage of more than 20,000 skilled workers in the labour market. The report goes on to say that large infrastructure projects will increase the demand for labour, meaning the skills shortage could only grow, ultimately pushing wages higher. Let's get more with Chief Operating Officer of the Clarius Group, Kim Quick. Kim, welcome along to you. Certainly, you've talked not just about the national broadband network, but those key industries that are powering this high Aussie dollar, mining and exploration. Is it an even distribution of shortages, or where's the real acuteness, and how does everyone else then stack up?
Yeah, look, what we're seeing this quarter is every sector is increasing in demand. So the distribution is certainly across all sectors. We're seeing pressure continue in the construction and trade sector as shortages there reach levels that we've not seen since 2007. So there's a lot of pressure in that sector particularly, and obviously the sectors that we're seeing in the most extreme shortage are those that have a major implication on those projects.
You have said that, we'll look at those sectors in a moment, you've said that some companies will pay whatever it takes to get the right person. Which of those companies are you referring to? Certainly
mining, obviously because they have the financial resources to be able to be competitive, and we're seeing pressure from that sector really start to push up wages, particularly in areas like Western Australia where other industries are finding it really difficult to compete. So from that respect, we are starting to see a little bit more moderation and a flattening of wages pressure, but we expect that given a lot of sectors are now in high to extreme skill shortages, I don't see any softening of that in some areas anytime soon. On a positive side, what we are starting to see for the first time in a little while is supply start to increase into some of these areas. Things like the tools for trades schemes, the apprentice bonus schemes, those types of initiatives are starting to drive supply a little bit more into those sectors. We're seeing applications for health-related education, the highest that we've seen for a long time, and certainly the highest as far as university applications go.
Are those numbers reflecting, though, the very sectors that fell the furthest at the worst of all of this? So we still have to look at the latest snapshot with a little bit of caution.
Yeah, look, to a degree. It has been consistent, though. Having said that, we certainly have seen pressure throughout construction-related areas the whole time through the GFC. So, that's really just going from bad to worse, to be honest. So, no dramatic change there. Health has remained reasonably consistent. I think health hasn't really declined in terms of demand, but supply seems to be increasing in that sector, which is a positive sign for continuing to be able to support health projects.
You flagged the demand for computer professionals as one sector that clearly was put on ice during that uncertain period after the federal election. If that was one sector that was directly affected, are you saying it weren't, or just not to the same degree?
Yeah, others certainly were. Some not to the same degree, I guess. And construction and trades areas was something that we saw consistently under pressure throughout the whole time. The computing profession, it was in a balanced to moderate level throughout the GFC, and that's largely because big IT projects were put on hold during that period due to the uncertainty of the market and the level of spend required to invest in those sorts of things. It's bouncing back very quickly, and a lot of major projects now given the go-ahead. We're seeing initiatives like the national broadband network obviously drive that. Concepts such as cloud computing and those sorts of technological developments will continue to drive demand for IT professionals.
You wonder then at the federal government's preferred response to all of this, because whichever way you look and understand it, it's not going to result in a change to the equation in 5 minutes. So if any changes are brought about, is it actually now too late to ward off these wage rises you're talking about?
Not too late. Everything that's done will certainly help, and as I said, in sectors that we have been reporting fairly dramatic shortages over the last couple of years, we are actually now starting to see a balancing out as supply starts to come little bit quicker and a little bit in more volume into the marketplace. Is it too late to save wages pressure? No, because we're already starting to feel the pinch of that, along with other pressures, I guess. So certainly anything that's done from here on in will just help to minimise or reduce the pressure that we're currently seeing.
In percentage terms, what are the most excessive demands that you are hearing, and what sector are they coming from?
Chefs remain up there. We're seeing that just get more and more intense as every quarter goes by, which is really interesting. Interestingly enough, the area that we're seeing, and I've mentioned, the construction and particularly trades-related roles in construction are the area that we're seeing the most extreme pressure, with a couple of those, now in the extreme levels. So that's really going to start to put some pressure not only on these projects, but generally on organisations trying to, factor in growth and trying to complete or for that matter, commence projects.
Chairman, a very brief final thought, if you could, and that is to say, in aggregate, how inflationary is the scenario likely to prove?
Look, I guess we're not seeing any slackening of the scenario, so I guess it can only continue. Certainly we're hoping that some of the initiatives that the government has rolled out will start to take a little bit of pressure off some of the impacts, but as you've mentioned yourself, Carson, that takes time.
Chairman, it's always a pleasure having you with us. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Kim Quick there from the Clarius.